So about an hour ago, I was at the gym. By the way, I'm down 50 pounds for all of you bullies that called me Fluffy on Twitter. And I logged on to my app and I noticed that Twitter was popping off because the infamous Yankees sign stealing scandal letter that was held in court privately was finally released. And this was the day that Boston fans and Houston fans have been waiting for. The day of reckoning for Yankees Twitter. They would rue this day. And instead, the Yankees were kind of vindicated because as we're going to read in this letter, it was really just a letter about stuff we already know. So without further ado, I'm not going to waste any more time and I'm not going to wait until tomorrow's MLB recap because I would have to speed through it. So I'm going to give it a full video and I'm going to go ahead and break down kind of piece by piece what the letter said, courtesy of Jeff Passan. Because luckily for us, he's a whole lot smarter and has a bigger brain, so he can use his vocabulary better and process things better, unlike me. So I'm going to go ahead and read his tweets in just a moment. So this is a statement from MLB on the Yankees letter, as previously made public. So they're saying this stuff already been known, guys. The New York Yankees were fined for improper use of the dugout phone because the replay review regulations prohibited the use of the replay phone to transmit any information other than whether to challenge a play. The Yankees did not violate MLB's rules at the time governing sign stealing. At that time, use of the replay room to decode signs was not expressly prohibited by MLB rules as long as the information was not communicated electronically to the dugout. Because rules regarding use of replay had evolved, many clubs moved their video equipment close to proximity to the field, giving personnel the potential ability to quickly relay signs to the field. MLB blah blah blah. So basically what happened after September 15th, they clarified that, hey, you cannot have a video room right next to the dugout so you can relate to the person on second base what the signs are. So that is essentially in a nutshell what happened, and that's what the Astros did not follow. The Astros kept on cheating, and we're going to go ahead and hop on over to Jeff Passan's Twitter just so I can prove to you guys that I'm not lying. So let's go ahead and start with the first of 9 tweets. So a thread by yours truly, Jeff Passan. The Yankees cheated. The Red Sox cheated. The Houston Astros cheated. All of them use technology in real time to steal signs. Now, if you want to be the person who says cheating is cheating, it's all bad, they're all the same, you do you. Kind of like back in the day when Barry Bonds took steroids and everyone was cheating, but because he was the best, he's going to take the fall. That's kind of how this is. Cheating is bad, whether you're Barry Bonds and everyone is doing it, or you're the small guy who's doing it just to keep up with Barry Bonds. If you're rational and understand that cheating in sports exists on a continuum, then you understand the differences among the 3 teams that have been proven. The Yankees in 2015 and 2016 used the replay room to decode catcher signs and on the road used a replay room phone to relay them to a dugout phone. These decoded signs were given to the runners on second base who could peek at the catcher and relay the coming pitch to the hitter. So they used a replay room phone to relay them to a dugout phone. Then those decoded signs were given to the runner on second base and only the runner on second base. So then that guy could then tell the hitter, hey, a fastball up is coming or a changeup down is coming, but it only happened when a runner was on second. There was no camera from center field or a dugout camera, anything like that, or even the Yes Network cameras. None of that was used. The Red Sox did essentially the same thing as the Yankees replay room, except in 2018, after Commissioner Robert Manfred had threatened penalty for use of technology to steal signs, as well as after Boston in 2017 was fined for illicitly using an Apple Watch to relay signs. Astros used technology to steal signs. They then relayed the coming pitch to batters, even with the bases empty, in real time by banging it on a trash can. Manfred's report said this was done during the World Series run in 2017, so after the September 15th imposition that Robert Manfred imposed, including in the postseason. So it was confirmed that the Astros cheated in the postseason. Then Jeff goes on to say, these are different things. Very, very different things. Players have been trying to steal and relay signs from second base forever. That doesn't excuse the Yankees and Red Sox, but context matters. Relaying pitches with such specificity, that's a hard word to say for me, as the Astros did, was entirely new. Now, if MLB comes down harder on the Yankees or Red Sox in 2017, does that change things? Perhaps. Maybe the Astros are scared straight, but let's remember, Robert Manfred warned the Red Sox in 2017 after using the Apple Watch, and they won the World Series in 2018 while cheating. So basically, Jeff Passan is saying, hey, All of these different things are cheating. Yes, maybe if Robert Manfred and Major League Baseball had come down harder on the Yankees and the Red Sox, that maybe it would have scared the Yankees. Kind of like that show, Beyond Scared Straight, where you put kids in prison and they're like, oh, I don't like this and I don't want to end up like them, thinking that maybe punishing the Red Sox and the Yankees would stop teams like the Astros from banging on cans. Unfortunately, that did not work. But then he said that the Red Sox continued to cheat in the same year in which they won the World Series. So he goes on to say the Yankees letter gives one piece of previously unreported information. MLB fined the Yankees $100,000. Everything else has been reported. This doesn't lessen the deed, but nothing in this letter damns the Yankees beyond what we've long known about them and cheating in MLB. And this is the final of 9 tweets, and I will say Jeff Passan is very good at articulating himself, so that's why I'm reading his tweets and not trying to come up with some weird version of the story on my own end. I'd rather just trust Jeff Passan in the way that he can use his syntax in this regard. Using technology to steal signs was rampant in baseball. The Yankees, Red Sox, and Astros, and others whose indiscretions have not been proven publicly did it. It's simply facile to treat them as the same. It's factual to say that there are different levels of cheating. So there you go. In a nutshell, basically what happened is that the Yankees, the Red Sox, and the Astros were all proven to be using technology to cheat. The way that it's kind of described by Jeff Passan is that the Astros really did go after it and they cheated the worst. The Boston Red Sox were kind of like the ugly stepchild, and then there's the Yankees who cheated, they were fined, and then they stopped cheating. They did not continue into the next year like the Astros or the Red Sox, and honestly, I feel like the Yankees fans are going to come away with saying, ha, you've been waiting all of these months and all of these years to try and throw this letter in our face. Ultimately, it falls on deaf ears because, yeah, we cheated back in the day, but it was before the September 15th imposition from Robert Manfred saying, hey, you cannot use technology. So basically, it's the Barry Bonds argument. Are you on the side of the commissioner by saying, hey, I know I didn't impose these rules. Technically, they were still in the rule book, but I didn't enforce them. Now I'm going to enforce them, and if you continue to cheat going forward, that's where we're going to have an issue. So the Yankees are Barry Bonds. They were cheating. I guess the only difference is Barry Bonds never tested positive by Major League Baseball and was never suspended by Major League Baseball, as opposed to the Yankees actually receiving a punishment. So that is the culmination of today's little Yankees scandal recap. Let me know in the comment section down below, what do you make of all of this mess? Again, the statement from MLB says, hey, you guys knew all this stuff. And honestly, Joe Girardi, who was the manager at the time, came out and said, hey, we did this. He was on MLB Network as an analyst saying he was a part of this system. So this has been known. I don't understand why this letter was hyped up as some infamous piece of literature that would change the face of baseball. It wasn't. But here's Joe Girardi on the system that they used.
Right,
exactly,
right.
yeah.
So you got to worry about it. And sometimes you got to worry about just how it's being relayed. I mean, that's the thing. Like, I was part of a system where it came from upstairs to someone in the dugout to the guy on second base. And we eventually caught it.
So again, let me know in the comment section down below, what do you make of this whole controversy and debacle? What do you make of my comparison that Barry Bonds, hey, he was cheating along with every other player. I shouldn't generalize and say every single person in his era was taking steroids, but I would argue the majority of people were, and it's the same sort of situation right now. It seems like every team in Major League Baseball was using a system of sign stealing, and that the Yankees, the Astros, and the Red Sox were the best of the best. They continually made ALCS and World Series pushes, so they were at the front of it, just like Barry Bonds and Mark McGwire, all of the guys that were at the front of the steroid era. And now, is this going to be called the sign stealing era? I mean, if anything, this was supposed to put the Yankees in a chokehold and ruin their credibility forever, and instead nothing really came of that. So again, let me know your thoughts. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys tomorrow morning for another recap. This was a doozy.